Well, our top story today is the excise rate cut on both diesel and petrol. The BJP is calling it an early Diwali gift, and the government has decided to cut the basic excise duty by 2 rupees per litre. This cut will be effective from tomorrow. The government has also said that this will result in a revenue loss on account of this reduction to about 26,000 crore rupees for an entire year and 13,000 crore rupees for a remaining part of this financial year. Now, do remember, this is something that CNbc TV 18 has been focusing on for the last several weeks. Between my colleagues Prashant Nair, Ekta Batra, Lata and myself, we've been raising the issue of how this is one of the highest tax sectors in the country, and this was providing the government fiscal space, a significant fiscal cushion. The Editors' Roundtable has been focusing on this particular issue for weeks now. Narendra Taneja, spokesperson of the BJP and member of its energy cell, the leader of its energy cell, joins us now. Mr. Taneja, many thanks for joining us. You were on my program when we were discussing the fact that this is a sector that's so highly taxed, and hence the benefit of low crude prices haven't percolated to the common man. Then the government's response was, we must stay the course. There is no room for a cut in excise. What has led to the change of heart, Mr. Taneja? We were raising this issue for weeks, and there was, the response was that no can do. What seems to have changed?
There is no change of heart. You see, it's the responsibility of the central government to regulate and manage the overall, petroleum economics in such a way that, the ordinary consumer is protected, and at the same time, economy keeps expanding. So you have to take care of all these aspects. When you look at the petroleum prices today, especially when it comes to the, price of diesel and petrol internationally, I'm not talking crude, I'm talking of petrol and diesel, those prices are actually going up. So at that time, it was at the same time, government has to make sure that the inflation remains within the limits. So when you look at the price of petrol and diesel internationally and crude at the same time, the trend plus the forecast coming from, expert organizations and at the same time ground reality. So the government has decided, as part of the overall management and regulation of the petroleum economic, that to bring down the price by 2 rupees, as you say. So it's just part of it's a dynamic process. The decision has been taken in that spirit.
Okay, you're saying it's a dynamic process, and that's what the decision has been taken, because globally we're seeing crude prices move higher, and which has finally forced the government to relent and actually cut excise duties. The reason I ask you this question is, sir, because look at the numbers. Since November of 2015, excise duty on petrol has been hiked by 11 rupees and 77 paise per litre. Excise duty on diesel has been hiked by 13 rupees and 47 paise a litre. So we've seen several times over the excise duties being hiked, which is why I asked you what changed the government's mind this time around, and whether you believe that there is room for further reductions if crude continues to edge higher.
Well, when, we took the decision to increase the excise, the overall idea was basically to pass on the benefit to the ordinary consumer. Sometimes you pass on the benefit in terms of cash by bringing down the price of petrol and diesel at the retail, and sometimes you basically collect the money and pass on the benefit in terms of better infrastructure, welfare schemes, toilet facilities and so on and so forth. So the government decided to go for the other route, and that is basically to build infrastructure to provide welfare. So, and the people are benefited. That's why you saw that by and large people have been supporting the government move. But at the same time, now we feel that this time probably has come, looking at the overall international scenario, since our dependence on import is so high, that to bring down the prices at the time when we feel that we can afford to do that. But
Mr. Taneja, how much of this, let's be honest, sir, how much of this is on account of the public outcry, sir? There has been real ire over the fact that this has been a sector that has been heavily taxed. In fact, the government has milked this sector and provided itself a significant fiscal cushion, and the government anger was mounting. Is this cut not a direct relation to the fact that public anger was mounting on this issue?
Well, the public were questioning it, but to say outcry probably would be an exaggeration. In TV studios, yes. In news headlines, probably yes. But not as far as the public. We are very close to the public, and we know precisely what they want. Yeah, so, but as I said, the government has taken the decision, though it is part of the dynamic process, but it's coming very close to Diwali, and I'm sure people are going to love it. We do whatever we do in the interest of the common man, ordinary consumer, and the poor people, at the same time making sure the economy keeps expanding, GDP, keeps rising, and the fundamentals, basic fundamentals of economics are never, ever compromised. So decision is taken with the overall management of the economy, and you will see the people will welcome it, love it, especially when it comes so close to Diwali.
Well, I'm sure people will be happy with the cut. They would hope for an even steeper cut, but they'll take this one. But Mr. Taneja, you were speaking about the economy, and you said that the government will do whatever it can to ensure that the economy continues to grow and grow stronger. What next can we expect? And I'm not just talking about the oil and gas sector. There's been a lot of talk, and you can argue that it's talk in television studios around the possibility of a stimulus package. Are we likely to see more measures being announced by the government to try and ensure that growth continues to pick up?
Oh, absolutely. You see, I mean, the demonetization was part of that. GST was part of that. Further reforms, Air India privatization, etc., which is being seriously, pushed, is a part of the reform. So overall idea is that, look, only basically twofold. On one hand, to make sure that the GDP keeps rising, economy keeps expanding, and we keep modernizing economy, and at the same time bring absolute transparency in the economy. And digitization. If you see Morgan Stanley's report, the recent one, this is what they're saying. They're saying thanks to that our economy probably will grow to be 6-7 trillion economy very soon. So I think we will keep on pushing in that direction. Criticism is welcome if it is a positive and constructive criticism, and that we welcome that, including from opposition parties. But as I said, important thing is that while we are doing that, expanding economy, modernizing, bringing digitization, at the same time we make sure that the benefits of the economy are available to the last man standing. That is the most important. The poor, the lower middle class, that we take the benefits of all that in various schemes and all that money we collect to the poor people and the ordinary people.
Mr. Taneja, now people are starting to sort of link this to the fact that you've got an MPC meeting tomorrow and a decision on the possibility of a rate cut. Some arguing that this perhaps is the government's signal to the Reserve Bank and to the MPC. Would you agree? And what is your expectation of what could happen in the MPC tomorrow?
Well, very good question. RBI is an autonomous organization, but I must point out, two things. Number one, rupee is very strong, and at the same time, oil prices are not going to drop to $30 per barrel anytime soon. So basically, we have to keep those decisions, take those decisions that way. But I want to point out one thing. Whatever decisions we take is part of a very well thought, well meditated, well researched, we go through the entire exercise before a final decision is taken. So no decision taken in haste, no decision is taken under pressure, and decision basically taken keeping just two things in mind. The GDP continue to grow, and at the same time, interest of the ordinary people are taken care of.
Quick answer, yes or no, you expect a rate cut tomorrow?
Very good question. I won't comment as a BJP spokesperson, but as an Indian, I don't expect it.
You don't expect it. All right. So you're not in the camp of CII and FICCI who expect a 100 basis point rate cut. You're saying you don't expect a rate cut. All right, Narendra Taneja, appreciate you joining us here.